Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good day, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, wherever you are. My topic today would be on demand and potential of Islamic fashion, COVID-19. And I'm adopting TOS analysis today, which is an extension of what you are familiar with. That is a tool previously known as SWOT analysis. So, my name is Faridah, and from University Technology Mara, and attached to Institute of Quality and Knowledge Advancement. I've met most of you before in so many halal conferences previously, and I'm currently very active in the World Academy Islamic Management, or Waim. And if you need any questions to be clarified after my presentation, you can email me at the one written in blue or just WhatsApp me at the number given. I would like to address some acknowledgement, appreciation to Annie Priscilla Ferdayati Masneh from Uitm. And before I begin, my special thanks to three very important people that make this conference happen. The first International Halal Virtual Conference, and they are Dr. Hani and our strong man backbone, which is on the technical side, Brother Muhammad Noor, as well as SMIC boss, which is Brother Hassan. Okay, to begin with, this is the outline of my Islamic fashion, come modest fashion, come COVID fashion. Okay, most of you will be laughing at me. Why am I putting COVID fashion together with Islamic fashion? So you can see the blue picture, right? Those attired in blue on top there. Those are COVID fashion, okay, the latest. And they are all with masks and a long dress with caps and gloves and also shoes and socks, with all the accessories. Sounds very familiar, right? Yes, it is very similar to our Islamic fashion and also modest fashion, because as you can see on the very far top there, you can see the guys wearing abaya or jubah, the headgear, and the ladies down there, you can see them wearing, very loose-fitting and fashionable attire, apart from being blue like the COVID group. And the one on the right, you can see attire for games and athletes for the Muslims. Okay, so my outline would include some introduction on Islamic fashion, and then the objectives, the demand potential and overview of Islamic fashion, modest fashion, come COVID fashion, and adopting the SWOT and TOS analysis in doing some analysis on it that also would draw conclusion and recommendation. Now let's take a look first on the documented literature, how Islamic fashion came about in the Western countries. It all started in 1980s, where they import a lot of modest fashion clothing, because a lot of our migrants, who are now the third generation, are residing in Western Europe, United States, as well as in Australasia. And they demand for other items that are related to Muslim population. So Islamic fashion, which is synonymous with the women, because the demand mostly comes from the women who like to see changes and style. It's generally a modest clothing with long sleeves descending to the ankle and having a high neckline, quite similar to the COVID style attire that you saw just now. Why? Because they are non-hugging with some form of head covering. Okay, like for the COVID, it will be the caps, and it could be draped in different varieties, styles. For example, the hijab, which you can see on the left of the picture. Okay, it's available in most of Muslim minority countries, as well as in the I would say other parts of, and also in the Western world, where Muslim resides. Whereas the chador is mostly available in parts of Iran, Iraq, okay, and nearby. And the niqab and burqa would be very common in countries like Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Now, just take a look at those two pictures on the very right. Previously, prior to COVID, this would be the most rejected fashion because it looks probably too Islamic for them. But now with the COVID era, I would say this is the most highly demanded attire because it really covers the requirement for three purposes, for Islamic fashion, modest, and COVID, which are permissible based on the environment. You can, the virus won't get to your skin by putting on this attire. Secondly, is for safety, and third will be for protection. So you can put any attire underneath it, but outside when you go to the public, all right, it is the most safest attire that one can think of, and it's very loose, airy, very, very comfortable for anyone to put it on. Now, chador, as you can see right in the number 2, you can just take the attire outfit and just cover your nose when you are outside there walking around, doing your thing. Now, there are many other types available, like over here, the hijab, the niqab, and the abaya. So you can see the hijab and the khimar would be more modest in fashion, but the niqab, the burqa, the chador right in the middle are more compliance to the Islamic values. This is already stated, as I mentioned to you, if you want to do a literature in the Al-Quran, Surah Al-Azab, verse 33, ayat 59, where women are supposed to draw their cloaks or their veils all over their bodies. Okay, because in Islam, protection comes, in highest order or recognition or respect, I would say respect are given to the women, first, for their safety. Now, the research objective initially when I started doing this topic was to identify the key factors in Islamic fashion that woos the world fashion trends. Now, my friends used to ridicule me, Faridah, why do you need the Islamic fashion? Because, just put on a attire as long as you're decent, that's Islamic fashion. But I have to put that correctly because the demand requires a lot of sophistication, design, and styles and color. Now, what you can see over here would be just pastel color, brown, light, mustard color, white, grayish. That is very Islamic. And if you see the guys over here with the red headgear on top, those guys can even take that headgear and cover the nose for security, from sandstorm, hailstorm, and also from COVID storm. Right? So the demand is becoming more affluent now, as well as in need for various reasons, and the potential of the Islamic fashion is being looked upon and analysis done via the strategies of SWOT and TOES, and that's how I come up with conclusions and recommendations. Now, on the left of this picture, you can see all other hijab collection which are considered as modest, but the one on the right are considered Sharia compliant, Muslim, traditional female headgear from top to toe. And everybody from every part of the world can choose what they like, okay, and what the norm is like within the regions and continents. So this is the map of the Muslim population. You can see the concentration in brown right in the middle of Middle East, Africa, Northern Africa, and surrounded by the other countries nearby, and including Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, and Singapore, and Philippines too. And so you can see the demand growing from here outwards to the west, to the south, to the north, right? So, like, for example, in Russia, you have 25 million Muslim population, and also in China, which are more than 50 million. And that's a big number, actually. So, like in India, although it looks very, I would say, the number may be, the percentage may be small, like in India, 5 to 15%. But the number of Muslim population there are bigger than other Muslim countries except Indonesia, because India is approaching 200 million Muslim population compared to Indonesia 220 million. So take note on that, yeah. So a lot of marketing must go into all these parts of the world, because there's less products and services not known, where to market to. So Islamic fashion around the world, let's take a look from America, Africa, Asia, Australia, and Europe countries. Now take note that America, we have two senators over there representing the government, and Ilhan on the right, she is adopting the turban as headgear fashion, which is quite similar to the Africans. The ASEAN would have the veil, and look at the colors and the design and the pattern, whereas the Australia and European countries, they are more into hijab. Now, believe it or not, this Islamic Fashion Week or festival, where they have shows and parades, starts from the West, New York, to London, to Dubai, to Milan, I forgot what that, to Japan, coming down south to Malaysia, Indonesia, Australasia, and back to Dubai. So it's a full cycle. And look at the designs that you can see on these pictures. There are so much of variation that the customers would like to pick and choose according to their moods, probably. And in Australia, it's called the Faith Fashion Fusion. And this is more for the awareness of the public. So, in fact, if you talk about COVID fashion, the non-Muslim can choose any of this if they feel comfortable. Right. So the demand on Islamic fashion, as you can see over here, by the year 2019, there are 327 billion market value over there, whereas prior to that, there's only about 230 billion in average of 3 years. Okay, so such a tremendous jump. So why does this happen? And this is because of the brand awareness among the Muslims, and as I mentioned to you, high purchasing power, especially among the third generation of Muslims who are mostly professionals, graduates in the Western world. So the designers, brands, and retailers like DKNY, D&G, Burberry, Uniqlo, H&M, and Zara, as well as Alibaba in Malaysia, they started itching their way into the market and roll out special collections, especially during Ramadan and Eid, which is very close by now, just another 1 week to go, to the Muslimah and fashion market. But now even personal care are also being bought by the Muslimin, the guys, okay? So it is not only, it's meant for all Muslims who are accepting this kind of lifestyle, and the demand would be tremendous. So Muslim women are inclining towards modest apparel, especially in the Western world, and abaya and hijab industry is going to flourish from strength to strength, having these COVID times into play by Allah's grant and miracle ways. So the demand of Islamic fashion, you can see that Malaysia continues to lead the global Islamic economy indicator, followed by UAE and Saudi Arabia. And this was stated in 2018. Okay, you can see the reference down there. However, the startup modest fashion brands have also been making inroads around the world, particularly for hijabs, which are more modest, gaining traction through the use of social media to spread the word. You can see the millennial group right now going for Twitter, Insta, Facebook, name it, they give tutorials on how to dress up and look presentable for the professional groups, for the career people. And it is forecasted to reach 373 billion USD by 2022. Now, let's move on into the top 10 modest fashion. Okay, I'm not talking about fashion now, I'm talking about modest fashion. And it goes by the cosmopolitan population around. So UAE top the first, Turkey, which is close to the European countries, number 2. Then Italy, the Milan group, where they promoted the fashion industry. Singapore, France, China, Malaysia. Now, Malaysia ranked number 7 because this is modest fashion, not Islamic fashion. So, we have a mix over here because even the non-Muslims in Malaysia would encourage their children to go to schools wearing confined dress, which is considered, in Malaysia, we call it baju Melayu. So, baju means dress, Melayu uh, um, baju Melayu is a confined dress, yeah, for the Malay. So, because the non-Muslims over here believe that their children will be safe, in a loose fitting outfit, rather than the ones with belts and tight fit. So there's an awareness and acceptance in Malaysia, so that's why the modern fashion becomes becoming popular and acceptable. Then we have India and Sri Lanka and Morocco. Okay, the development of Islamic fashion are clothes worn primarily by practicing Muslims who have committed to Islamic principles of dressing. Okay, that's the definition of Islamic fashion, yeah. So that means that these are Islamic compliance attires. So it is from the people of faith and other faiths who also accepted it. Like I'm from a convent school, so my sisters and reverend, they put on similarly, typical Islamic fashion. So I guess the people of faith or people of books practice the same thing. So okay, then we have the tradition to modern life style. They are more educated, they work and they earn their money and they have more to spend. And then we have the sophisticated Muslim transforming the way they dress with hijab while trying to adhere the Sharia compliance dress code. We have the hijab stuff that I mentioned to you, having the hijab tutorial, putting on different styles, turban or V-shaped headgear and all that. Then we have modern modesty as well as fashionable headscarf. Okay, and people also use fashionable headscarf in the Western world for to look more sophisticated. Now let's move on to the literature review. I am covering all 5 continents: Asia, Africa, Australasia, including New Zealand, yeah, America, North, South, and Canada, and the other one would be European Union countries. So for Asia, we have a lot of Muslim countries. So I see Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. Malaysia and Indonesia, look on the right, yeah, are among the pioneer in Islamic fashion in the region. Dubai became the Islamic fashion capital of late because they promote a lot via their events. Turkey being close to Europe, moving into Muslim clothing country. Indonesia and Malaysia organizes Islamic Fashion Festival KL and also Malaysia International Fashion Week, and also Asia as a global center for Islamic fashion in 2017. And I was part of the co-organizer for that too, and we had a lot of research findings out of the conference that we organized. So in Australasia, you can see that many Muslims are from Bosnia, Lebanon, and Turkish, the 3rd generation, and they are mostly situated in the big cities. And Australia, manufactured by the name of Ahidi Zaniti, created the burkini, a modest form of swimwear, quite similar to the French group, that also promoted that during the Attic times or games. Now in EU, we have the Turkey, the Kosovo, Albania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Macedonia, who adopted a lot of famous fashion designers and brands like by DNG, that they produce and promote fashion aim for the Muslim at the London Islamic Fashion Show. In EU, like France and UK now, I would say Germany is coming up very strongly, as well as Italy. They even launched sports hijab in France, and you look at the attire on the left, okay, it's still covering all for the women, and you saw the earlier one for the men in the second slide. And in America, we have the South Asian, the Arabs, and the African American there. All right. And you can see that the professional Muslim example, the Congress women, Rashida Taib and Ilhan Omar that I showed just now with the turban, okay? They promote, their icons, and like Ilhan, she promotes on the Islamic modest fashion wear. So DKNY launches its first ever Ramadan fashion online in the last few years. And Vela Scarves also promoted the scarf fashion line based in California. And also another group by name of Hilfiger Arctic in 2009, as well as Sister Tasnim in 2010. Now in Africa, we have the Muslim countries such as Algeria, Mauritania, Senegal, Guinea, Mali, Nigeria, Niger, and they have their own Islamic Fashion Design Council in South Africa. So what I'm trying to say to you is that every continent takes care of itself in terms of the design required by the regional groups based on their culture. It may differ between Africa and Asian countries. So and we respect that. It's just like the four school of thoughts, in the mazhab. Now let's move on into the methodology. I mentioned to you about SWOT analysis, whereby we identify the critical factors that could potentially impact the success of a new project, especially entering a new market like this COVID fashion. And also we'll use the STOS analysis, whereby it is primarily for strategy creation. So let's look into what strategies we have. Now I have 5 tables altogether: SWOT and TOS analysis, that is Asia, Africa, Australasia, America, as well as EU. So from these 5, I'm going to show you one in Asia as an example. The rest of it, I would like you to get your slides from Brother Muhammad Noor to understand what the other continents are doing. But I need to show you here how you derive the SWOT analysis to TOS. Okay. Now most of you are familiar with SWOT, whereby you have, can you see the top internal strength and internal weaknesses? You list down all the critical factors, have a think tank group, brainstorming, as well as research secondary data to input all that. You can get also feedback from the industries. Then on the left, you can see the external opportunities as well as the external threat, okay, the ONT. Now that's all about SWOT, where most consultants stops, okay, in their analysis. So if you want to know more about those analysis, you have to contact me to guide you, okay, to help you. So we move on to the last 4 metrics on the right bottom. We are converting from negative to positive, but when you see positive, leave it as it is. But when you have negative, you try to minimize it. So the first one would be to match between the strength and opportunity strategies. Come up, what can you gather from that? Second one on the right, middle right, is converting weaknesses to opportunities. And the third one, you are converting, there's a typo error over there. It's not ST strategies, but it's supposed to be TS strategies, converting threats to strength. Okay, then you match those strategies from the SWOT and come up with the matching of those. And finally, you minimize the both negative, which is WT, minimize the weaknesses, minimize the threats. Okay. Now, some of you may ask, how could you use negative and negative because to become a strategy? So one example over here is that now you can offer discount. The first one, you look at it as an example. Offer discount to customer on a certain period, especially COVID times. People don't have the money, so they need the materials or they need the attire. So what do? You offer discount so that you can create the volume. So in Malaysia, AirAsia does this very well because they believe everybody can fly. So right now, I would say the theme would be everybody can wear Islamic, modest, or COVID fashion and make it available to everybody globally at reasonable cost. Okay, when you have volume, you can lower the cost. So you can finish up the stocks, whatever is available, and also develop a new one. Okay, WT2, as you can see over there, second strategy, you update latest trend of Islamic fashion. Alright, so maybe different parts of the world, different countries would like to have different design, different colors. Okay, so that is possible. So let me show you some other countries: Australasia, European Union, you have here America, and the last one Africa, having their own subset of SWOT and TOES and conclusion, yeah, and recommendation. So this is my last part of my presentation. In conclusion, Muslim fashion or modest fashion and COVID fashion are lucrative global industry, with countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia and Turkey leading the way outside the Western countries. Malaysia has been fortunate because we have a 60-40 Muslim, non-Muslim population. Our 40% of non-Muslim are the ones that we pilot test first in terms of our food, our fashion, our products, pharmaceutical, the benefit of it, the goodness of it, before we market to other parts of the world. Their feedback are very precious because they will tell us honestly what they like and dislike about it. But most of the time, our non-Muslim in Malaysia would regard any halal or Islamic products and services as quality products and services. Okay, we are not talking about religiosity over here. We are talking about the goodness of it because of the specs, because of the requirement, because of the need of good quality like HACCP and all that. And having a halal logo matters a lot, nowadays in Malaysia, both for Muslim and non. So next, a growth of 11.9% of the global spending would be seen in the period of the next 3 years. And take note, I did mention earlier, 2022 would be a good, remarkable market value then in USD billion dollars, yeah. Now, other than that, with this pandemic COVID-19, Islamic fashion is an emerging market inspired by the African, ASEAN, and Arab heritage, and both, I would say, not both, all three, Islamic fashion, modest, and COVID are for compliance reasons, safety and protection, and permissible or halal. Okay. So demand driven by normally the lack of global Islamic clothing brands. Okay, I do hope Muslims will move into this market. If you don't want to work with Alibaba, create your own branding and marketing and good promotion in making this happen. And yes, women would be the first group to promote. But take note, women has a strong buying power. Because they decide for their family, for their men, and for their children. So don't underestimate that this is only for women to purchase the products, okay, and services. And other than that, take a look. They are looking into stylish clothing attire. Even in COVID right now, we may not have designed it yet, but they are looking for materials and designs that are for young, modern, sophisticated, working, professional Muslim, demanding fusion style, okay? So modest wear may be accepted by the non-Muslim countries as fashion, okay, or COVID wear, alright? Then other than that, they want to look professional and compliance with Sharia dress code for the Muslim. And internet and business online would be the growing popularity during this COVID era. So you have so many social medias to help you. So religion is a dynamic feature in Islamic marketing, but for modest and COVID fashion, design is a subsequent great aspect. So in recommendation, try to establish products brand, organize more Islamic fashion show, COVID fashion festival. You have aggressive promotional through internet marketing. You produce more fashion designer in Islamic fashion. Have more research and produce more product varieties. Example, scarf, hijab, socks, accessories, on and on. Okay, even sunglasses or whatever. Shields, yeah. So my final say would be more study and research on Islamic fashion and anti-COVID fashion for both women and men are needed. And I would like you all, stay protected and be safe at all times. So thank you very much for this opportunity. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me in both areas, and I'll be glad to assist. So thank you again, Brother Muhammad Noor over there. I'm sure you're listening to me, for all your help. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.